If you're trying to make $1 million, how long do you think it will take? If you're a professional lawyer, engineer, or an accountant, you make like $100 an hour. You need to save every penny you earn for 5 years in a row, which is impossible because you need food on your table and roof over your head. But let's just say hypothetically, how long do you need to make $1 billion? If you earn $100 for every hour, you are alive. Assuming you work 24/7 and don't sleep, eat, or do anything else, you need 1,141 years, and you still won't make 1% of Jeff Bezos' net worth. Because to compete with Jeff Bezos, you need to multiply that number by 200. That really shows you that there is no way to build wealth if your plan to just make more money per hour. There are other ways, such as making your money work for you, or creating something that brings value to a huge number of people. For example, when you create an operating system, Windows XP, that 95% of all computers use, you instantly make billions of dollars, since there are billions of computers worldwide. But you don't need that much money, to be honest. Every extra dollar you earn after paying all of your bills is just another digit on your smartphone. If there is one thing you must learn to gain financial freedom, is to focus on acquiring the right habits. Because if you do not, you will automatically develop bad habits. So in this video, we'll talk about some of the most important habits that pay way to financial freedom. Number 1. The number one habit that most experts emphasize on is tracking every dollar you spend. It sounds so simple, but it's by far the most important and effective habit you can develop. And many people take it for granted. They think that they can do it in their head, but it doesn't work. You need to write it somewhere, whether you write in a journal, use an app, or do it through Excel. You should set up a system where you can easily find out where exactly do you spend your money. Some people have so many subscriptions that they don't use much. A $10 subscription here, $15 subscription there, a $12 subscription here. In a single month, they turn to $37 or $444 a year. Imagine investing that money. Instead, that will turn into a fortune. In 30 years, that will turn into over $92,000. It is a good example to illustrate that every dollar you save today will become far more valuable in the future through the power of compounding. Number 2. The second habit is to build systems. Try to automate everything in your life because as you get older, you start to understand that the most valuable thing you ever have is time. Time doesn't equal money. Time is far more important than money. The amount of free time you have is the ultimate sign of how wealthy you are. Because the more free time you have, the more time you can spend on thinking, studying, and finding more ways to make money. Take for example tracking your spendings. It takes a lot of time to track your spendings. But if you already have created a system for you, it's hardly take 30 to 40 minutes a month. Created a table with all of your expenses, subscriptions, income, and everything else. Try to pay for everything with your credit card. And at the end of every week, just match your spendings with your budget. If that matches, you're doing great. If not, then try to adjust your spendings. Look at your life, your job, your responsibilities, and figure out how you can automate them. And you'll realize how much time it's going to save you. Number 3. The third habit is don't invest in what you don't understand. Spend some time to get to know a company before you invest. Act like a business owner. Would you be confident running a business that has errors in your financial statements, doesn't allow contact from investors, and has no legitimate proof of any underlying operations? Of course not. This is the mistake that people make over and over. Investing is risky. It doesn't matter what you invest in. And when you invest in something you don't understand, it's worse than gambling. You're almost guaranteed to lose money. Here is the lesson. There is no such thing called an investing and one thing is better than the other. Overall, the economy is moving forward. So whether you invest in the stock market, real estate, startups, your own business, an ETF, it doesn't matter. In the long run, they're all profitable. The challenge is to pick the right real estate, the right stock, or the most promising business, and the only way to do that is to have a deep understanding of that industry. When they say that you should diversify your investment, keep 40% of your portfolio in stocks, 30% in real estate, and the rest in the different asset classes. The advice is for people who already have tens of billions of dollars, not for the average folk who lives paycheck to paycheck. So forget all of that and focus only on one industry or one asset class. Number 4. Produce instead of consume. Our society is divided into two groups. The first ones are the producers, and the second ones are the consumers. We are all somewhere in the middle. No one is entirely a consumer or fully a producer, but the question is, are you more of a producer or are you more of a consumer? Take YouTube for example. There are people who create content, and then there are people who consume that content. The question is, which one are you? The ones who produce are probably much better financially than the ones who consume. If you spend most of the time just consuming and consuming, you shouldn't be surprised if you're doing horrible financially. Start thinking about how you can become a producer. It's not just about YouTube. It's pretty much about everything else. But today it's really difficult because you are constantly distracted by what others produce. The moment you pick up your phone, you get bombarded what others are producing. You end up wasting hours and hours of your time watching YouTube when instead you plan just to check out what's going on. So start making that shift. Ask yourself, how can I at least spend half of my time producing, and what I can produce? The moment you make that change, you will not just start making more money, but you will start spending less money. Number 5. The final habit is think twice before making a decision. This habit might not seem so important, but it's one of the most important habits to develop. Thinking twice before acting is always really important. That is because being rational is often the best approach to any decision making and taking steps forward. Having said that, when you're rational, you have to think big, think wide. Sometimes things or small events could seem non-beneficial. If you only focus on that one project you're working on, it could have no impact on that project as far as you're aware, but you might meet a person who could make an impact on your project or simply on your life. Often what happens with us is that we take decisions without giving them much thought, and then later down the road, we realize that it was a terrible decision. You waste $1,000 to buy a gadget and then realize that it was a waste of money. You take a loan and then find out that it was unnecessary, but it's too late already. The damage has been done. So despite the importance of being able to make decisions fast and quickly, just give yourself more time. If you can postpone it to the next day and think about it in the morning with fresh head, do it. Especially if it's spending a lot of money or a long-term commitment. Try not to take instant decisions. In fact, the fewer decisions you take, the better. That's why habit number 2 is so important. Because the more you can automate, the more time you will have to spend on more important decisions. Thanks for watching, and until next one.